You're listening to JTE Movie Thinks. Is that the title? Is that correct grammar? All right, we'll go with it. It's a show about movies and thinking. And now, here's your host, every man's hero, JTE.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of JTE Movie Thinks. Another week, another person, another talking of movies. This week, I got a first-timer. First time on my podcast. It's interesting how I met Roger Barr. So, as you guys know, I've been working Screen Junkies for a little while. But even before I worked for Screen Junkies, I got to watch the epic battles between him and Nick Mundy on Screen Junkies movie fights, which were, listen, I'm going to tell this to you right now. Mr. Roger Barr's on the show. And Mr. Roger Barr, let me tell you something. When I was engineering those shows, those were some fun-ass shows to engineer.
Thanks, buddy.
Anytime you and Nick would get it, I mean, it was like there's one fight where you guys literally were like, you got out of your seat and you started fighting like...
Oh, yeah. You know, we want to make it entertaining.
Yeah, it was like... Yeah. I flash back
we're very passionate about the movies we love, and we usually do not agree on any of it.
Very true.
I think that makes for a good show.
The one clip of you and Mundy going at it, it was like a clip from King Kong vs. Godzilla. You were both like arms on each other's shoulders, like, like I literally want to edit, like, you know, people running away and just
we're waiting for the day
down.
that you guys will bring us into movie fights with some like big pre-recorded thing where we're battling in the city or something. I'm waiting for that day.
That would be I'm gonna pitch that up the ladder.
Yep.
But one thing I noticed, you know, one of the great things about having this job as being an engineer for Screen Junkies and actually being able to, you know, been able to be on movie fights, and actually, I'm 2-0. I don't want to brag, Roger, right off the bat here. I'm 2-0.
That's better than me. I was originally going for having the most losses.
Oh, that's right. There was a joke for a while there. You were not.
I thought
winning.
I could do it. But I unfortunately my streak was broken when I got a win.
Would you say it's because you're going up against tough competitors, or
no? Every show is tough competitors and all. It's really good arguments and all, and. I wouldn't want to have to judge it, but I'd also say I've been robbed of a few victories here and there, and I think everyone knows which ones those were. So
everyone feels that way once in a while. Trust me.
It's a fun show. It's so entertaining, and I love the debates and just talking about all these great movies that we love and hate and everything. So
yeah, and you could also catch Roger. You've been on Movie Games. You've been on Mega Movie Watch Along. And
Andre's Mega Movie Get Together.
Oh, Mega Movie Get Together. What did I say? Yep. Mega Movie Watch Along.
Watch Along. That must be some other show in development.
It's the same ideal.
Yeah.
But I watching, listening to you and talking, I'm like, okay, this guy he knows his shit.
Oh,
he knows his shit.
I like to think so.
And as someone who knows his shit, I respect when I see somebody else that knows their shit.
You know your shit as well, my friend, believe me.
So I'm really excited to kind of dig into your brain. That's really when I started this podcast, was because I work with all these great professionals. I've had Scott Mance, Alicia Malone. I've had the Schmoes, the Screen Junkies, people from all over the entertainment industry.
Alicia, by the way, I think she is the best movie fights competitor of all of them. I've battled her several times, and she always just blows me away, like with her knowledge and everything. Like I know Dan's the champ, and he's excellent as well, but Alicia, to me, is like, if I'm going into movie fights and she's on, I'm like, oh man, this is going to be a tough one.
It's going to be a tough one. I was just, last week, I was just talking to Dan Merle about how she was the number one contender for a long time. She's the one that eventually fought him in like the championship round because she's a smart cookie. She knows her movies.
I think, didn't she lose in just like a speed round or something? Speed rounds, like, even if you're
That's
really
tough.
good with your movie knowledge, that sometimes throws people off. Like, I'm pretty comfortable in the speed rounds, I think, but in the main rounds and stuff, I sometimes get knocked down.
Well, one thing Alicia and Dan have in common is they prep, man. They both come with page and notes. And I think maybe when she got to the speed round, she didn't have those notes.
Of course.
It hurts a little bit. But yeah, Alicia's the best.
She's great.
I need to have her back. She's been on the show a few times. I'll have her on again soon. She knows her classic films.
Yes, she
does. But she does have every fighter has a weak areas. She's not huge with the comic book like stuff, and as far as like the more geeky aspect of film culture nowadays,
that makes sense.
But if she knows that she's gonna have to talk about it, she'll do her homework.
Yeah.
So if I was gonna say, Roger Barr, what's like your niche, your specialty when it comes to like movie knowledge?
Well, definitely like 80s and 90s, a lot of cult films, stuff like
that.
Cult
films, that's exactly what I wanted to say.
Horror movies, of course, B movies, action movies, a lot of that kind of stuff.
You're a big horror guy.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Like, Now,
Halloween to me is not a single day. It's a 2-month celebration every year.
Is it really?
From September 1st to October 31st on my site, I do nothing but write about Halloween and horror movies and candy and
Holy
all that
crap.
stuff.
So that just started as a child. You were just like, you love that time period.
Yeah, absolutely love it. Best time of the year to be alive.
All right, we're going to definitely get into the movie that you watched last, which is the whole base of the show. But I'm definitely, by the end of the show, I want to get into some old school horror movies with you.
Sure.
Because growing up, me and my cousin would go every weekend, and we would just rent the most random. Like, do you remember like demonic toys?
Oh, of course.
What was the Little Man?
Puppet Master.
Toy Man. Was it
Puppet Master?
The Puppet Master.
Puppet Master. There was a Blade, Pinhead, Leech Woman, all them.
Ghoulies
Torch,
1, Ghoulies 2.
Ghoulies Go to College.
Ghoulies Go to College.
Yep. I just wrote an article about Ghoulies 2 for Blumhouse, actually. Yeah.
I loved Ghoulies 2.
Ghoulies 2 is definitely better than Part 1 because it actually has, the famous ghoulie on the toilet, coming out of the toilet. That actually happens in Ghoulies 2. It never happened in Part 1, which drove people nuts because that's really what got people to rent the tape to begin with.
And anytime you put a horror movie somewhere near an amusement park, it just brings the stock up.
Absolutely.
Always works. Yeah. So I definitely want to get to some of those movies in the whole Dark Castle. Remember Dark Castle, that production company?
I do recall
they're the
them,
ones that made like those demonic toys versus like Doll Man, I think his name was.
Yeah, well, it was like Full Moon Pictures.
Yes,
they did
also.
a lot of those,
we'll definitely get to that. But this is the way the show works, Roger. I'm going to ask you, what is the last movie you watched from beginning to end?
Okay.
And it can't be something that you basically had to watch for a critic screening, or maybe it was for a mega movie. I want to know something that you watch, whether it be, maybe it's something on Netflix that you've never seen before, and you just were flipping through and like, let's check this out. Maybe it's something a friend borrowed you. Maybe it was one of your own Blu-ray or DVDs that you dusted off the shelf. It's something you've seen 100 times, but you just need to watch it again.
Okay.
So, Roger Barr, what is the last movie you watched?
The last movie I watched was Turbo Kid.
Damn it. You
and
got
you
me,
haven't
Roger.
Seen it.
You got me.
I see, you were saying, like, I've seen just about everything. I'm like, you probably don't watch the same stuff that I watch.
Here's the deal. I saw the trailer of Turbo Kid. It's now on Netflix, guys.
Yes, it
so
is.
if you haven't seen it, go catch it on Netflix, which I've been meaning to do. I almost watched it about a week ago.
Oh.
Because I think it just recently hit Netflix.
Yes, it did, and that's why I watched it again. I first watched it when it actually came out, and when it came to Netflix, I watched it again. I've seen it 3 times now. So
interesting. 2 episodes ago, I had Bobby Finstock from Schmoes on, and last film he watched was Zapped. Zapped with Scott Baio.
No, I have not seen that one.
It's basically a movie where he gets power of telekinesis. What is that word? Telekinesis. Okay. And he uses it to lift girls' skirts.
Yeah, I've seen the trailer for it. It's an old 80s or 70s flick. It was an 80s flick, I think. I'm pretty sure.
It was 80s.
I mean, all that kind of stuff, Porky's and everything. All those kind of movies were big back then.
It was the formula where a kid gets power, uses it to get laid.
Yeah, pretty much.
But Turbo Kid is a throwback to the 80s movies that are more science fiction, fantasy, post-apocalyptic kind of films.
Yeah, post-apocalyptic B-movie style.
Which were huge in the 80s.
Yes, absolutely. And I really miss those films. I grew up when there were shows like USA Up All Night.
Oh, I loved USA Up All Night.
USA and all these amazing hosts.
What was the host of USA Up All Night?
USA Up All Night had 2 hosts. It had Rhonda, who went USA Up All Night, and Gilbert Gottfried was the other co-host. That's right, Gilbert Gottfried. So the 2 of them together, every week, it was just this amazing thing to do at midnight, and I really miss those days. That's why they're the reason why I became a horror host myself and all.
Interesting.
I had my own character. I did a show called Doc Mock's Movie Mausoleum that I'm hoping to bring back sometime.
That's an awesome title.
Yeah. I played this Doc Mock character, and I hosted all these movies in this really raspy voice and everything, and we watched all kinds of crazy B movies all the time, so it's a real blast.
Are there puppets?
No,
I feel like there should be like a hand puppet.
There was one, the guy who ran the control booth in the TriCaster, he was a puppet, actually.
Really? That's
Eyeball named Licky, and I had a co-host, my wife, and she was Misdiagnosis, the nurse, who would field questions from the live chat room and all that while we
this
all watched the show.
Vaguely reminds me of Gremlins 2. The Dracula guy hosted the show.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, that was great. They should have made that into a real show,
right?
Actually.
Totally.
But yeah, USA Up All Night, all those and Commander USA, those shows were amazing, and they introduced so many people to all these B movies that you could that were never in theaters. They were just straight to VHS rentals and all.
Yeah.
And Turbo Kid is definitely a nice throwback to all
So,
those.
like I said, I've seen some trailers and stuff for Turbo Kid, and being a fan of those kind of movies, it definitely piqued my interest. I just didn't catch it in theaters. It wasn't playing in too many out here. But I am interested to check on Netflix. Give me the premise, because I don't even. The premise is pretty.
Yeah, it's a post-apocalyptic world, and this kid who rides a BMX bicycle, which was another huge thing back in the 80s and still should be. They're just all fighting just to get water. Kind of like in Mad Max, kind of a thing. They just want water, and there's this. Tyrant who kind of like controls it all once again, similar to Mad Max, but
it's like
he's more of just like he just likes killing people just for the fun of it kind of a guy. Not like he's not pretending to be like some guy who's going to lead you to Valhalla or anything like that.
Gotcha.
And he's played by Michael Ironside.
Ironside's
so
great.
You can't go wrong with Ironside's in a B movie. Scanners, of course. There's another classic 80s.
Yes, David Cronenberg.
Still one of the greatest, all-time greatest head explosions ever to put to film.
Amazing.
So in Turbo Kid, basically he finds this. He's a big fan of this comic book called Turbo Kid, and eventually he stumbles onto a wreck, which actually has the real Turbo Kid suit in it, and along with a Power Glove, the NES Power Glove styled after, but it's restyled so it looks a little bit different. But it's a Power Glove, and they're clearly making it intentionally look like one. And this Power Glove has some serious powers, and he also meets another girl who seems quite insane, named Apple, and she steals the entire show. Her character is absolutely fantastic, and I don't want to give stuff away. So,
well, let me ask you this: so like
ultra gory, very over the top, and it's all practical effects.
Awesome.
So just like the old '80s stuff was, but it's comedic. It's not like gory just for the sake of being gory. It's got some real laughs behind it. It's almost like Looney Tunes.
That's my next question, because I've seen a trailer. It does look over exaggerated a bit.
Yeah.
But I'm really curious, because I feel like a good example would be Grindhouse. Remember Quentin Tarantino's Grindhouse?
Sure.
You got Robert Rodriguez and you got Quentin Tarantino, both making their own versions of Grindhouse movie. Now I feel like Robert Rodriguez made a spoof of what Grindhouse movies were. Whereas Tarantino actually made a real Grindhouse movie. So is this movie being kind of a spoof of what those 80s movies are, or is it trying to go out and make one of those real 80s movies?
No, I think this is actually somewhere. It's more of like a middle ground. It's kind of like a split between the two. I mean,
does it work like that though?
It does. I mean, I've seen it 3 times, I clearly like it. Tarantino's. Most people preferred Robert Rodriguez's film in that. Yeah,
I guess
I'm on the side of Death Proof. Actually.
I'm with you too, because I said it right after I saw the movie. I actually saw it here in Hollywood at the Man Chinese opening night when it was a double bill.
Right.
And I remember saying, Tarantino actually made one. To me, if you're gonna make a homage film to like those all back, just make one of them. Don't make one lampooning them.
Right. And I've seen the other one once, and that's all I needed to see, honestly. But Death Proof, I've definitely seen multiple times. And I think the dialogue is great, as most Tarantino films dialogue are.
Now, this Turbo Kid, do you feel the budget? Does it feel pretty low when you're watching it? Is it? It's not.
It does.
But it's not like Laser Cats.
No. If you, I'm trying to think of the other one that came out last year. Kung Fury, which of course, that was a big thing. That was more of a short rather than a full-length film.
Yep.
I like Turbo Kid more than Kung Fury. Kung Fury was a little. I mean, it's a great movie, and the soundtrack is amazing.
It's extreme.
And it's absolutely nuts. And what they pulled off on their own is incredible.
Amazing.
Just great work all around. And
so, how does this compare to that?
I like Turbo Kid more.
Is it more subtle, is what you're saying? Or?
I think. Well, it's probably because Kung Fury was just a short, and Turbo Kid had more time to like really make you fall in love with the characters. Where Kung Fury is just like nonstop insanity the whole way through. Turbo Kid has breathers between all the chaos. And all that,
Kung Fury starts at 11 and does
turn it down till the end, and that's perfect for what it is.
Turbo Kid has more of a flow to it because it has a beginning, middle, end. It's more of an arc structure.
Right. And I could totally see Kung Fury is definitely more of a parody of all those kind of movies. Like every movie combined into one.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, all right. So Turbo Kid, you're saying you obviously watched it 3 times.
Yeah.
Do you think it's somebody like you who loves that time period and loves those kind of movies? How would somebody who's maybe not into that, would they be able to find just as much enjoyment? Maybe not as much. Does it stand up on its own as just a decent film?
Yeah, I mean, totally. I mean, if you're looking for something to watch on Netflix that's going to be unique and it's going to make you laugh and you're going to be impressed what they did with their budget and everything and has some memorable characters, Turbo Kid is totally worth watching.
I wonder what the production budget on that was. Because the one thing I did see when I saw the trailer is like I did feel kind of like, oh, this is a small budget film.
Well, let me see. Actually, I don't have a listing for that.
Don't worry about it.
I just checked. But
check it out. Everyone listening to this has internet on their phone.
But one of the things that one of the reasons it caught my attention was Jason Eisner, who's the guy behind Hobo with a Shotgun.
Yes, that's another one.
He was a big supporter of this film. It's made by these people up in Canada, and I really enjoyed Hobo with a Shotgun. I thought that was another great throwback.
That's one I missed.
He also made Treevenge, which was a short film about killer Christmas trees that you can watch for free
sounds
online.
Amazing.
And that's another. Really just fun little short
horror
movie. It's great to bust out during the Christmas season. And I love I love holiday themed horror movies.
Oh, so were you a fan of Krampus? Were you a fan of Krampus?
That's the one I'm still waiting. I didn't actually get to see that in the theater, of all things.
That's like Roger Barr 101.
I was planning on it, but I had to actually go back east at the time, and I was with family and a bunch of stuff, and just never got around to it. And it went out of theaters kind of fast, so I'm waiting for it to come out, and it's supposed to be out pretty soon, I think. So believe me, it's on my list because I love Silent Night, Deadly Night. That's the one that everyone remembers.
How many Silent Night, Deadly Nights were there? There was a lot of them,
there
right?
were 4 or 5. I believe.
Have you seen them all?
I want to say 5. No, I didn't see them all. The first one is the classic. The second one has the Garbage Day guy.
Garbage Day.
There's one where it's basically. They show the entire first movie in part 2, plus this guy's thing. So you really don't need to watch part 1 if you have part 2.
Gotcha. One of them had a doll becoming human.
Toy maker,
yes.
And I think it was Dick Van Dyke was in it. It was a long time ago that I watched the sequels, but I want to say there are 5. I could be wrong. It's either 4 or 5.
Well, when it comes to Turbo Kid, what's some other films that from the 80s and that time period that it's trying to like pay homage to that you would kind of compare it to?
It's tough to say. Rad, of course, it's all about BMX biking. You can't go wrong. Rad, Gleaming the Cube, all those kind of action / here's vehicles that kids could ride on, bikes and skateboards.
It's a bunch of kids who are like fighting against the man.
Sure. And maybe you got the Wizard in there too, of course, with the
Fred
power
Savage.
glove.
Okay.
But it's hard to say like exactly what other movies, there were a lot of movies back then, like The Eliminators, which
Charlie Sheen?
No.
That's Exterminator.
This actually had a guy on a half man, half android called Mandroid, and his entire lower half was a tank.
I remember Mandroid.
And it had like Tasha Yar on it and a bunch of other people.
The movie I was just thinking of Charlie Sheen was, have you ever seen The Wraith?
Yes, the motorcycle one. Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
what I was thinking of. Where he's like turns into turns like a motorcycle Power Ranger or something.
Right. Yeah, he's kind of
just starts like killing people,
coming back for vengeance. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's another one that like. There's so
that one still airs. I want to say that's on Netflix now as well. Actually, I swear I saw that added recently. I believe it's on there. I'd be
shocked that was. That's crazy.
No, they have a lot of good stuff on there.
There's a great
research.
I love the thing is like those are movies I grew up watching, and there are cult films though. Like there's a lot of movies I watched that don't even. I'm guilty. I loved Garbage Pail Kids as a kid.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
It's
a crazy, creepy movie, and it's one of the most nightmare-inducing things you'll ever see. But
you go back and watch it now, though, it's bad.
Oh, sure. It was bad back then. Believe it. A lot of things that we all loved when we were kids are bad now in retrospect.
That's a quick question. Like, seeing that you love those kind of movies, those cult hits, those 80s kind of cheesy sci-fi fantasy horror films, Are there ones that you loved as a kid that you go back? Do you still love them? Or are there ones that just really don't hold up?
Most of the movies that I liked, I do still love. It's a lot of the shows that I liked back then that don't hold up as much.
Like what?
Well, I remember loving Thundercats then, and now.
Oh yeah.
Now it's just not as watchable. Same for He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. I mean, I love the Christmas special and some of the stuff. It's funny, but the same love that was there when I was younger is
totally understand that.
Definitely not there.
I'm trying to think of some other movies I loved as a kid.
But
oh man, the Garfield Kid is one that definitely stands out.
Did you ever watch like The Toxic Avenger? I mean, that was another big up all night one.
I told a story
movies.
On 2 episodes ago with Finstock. I told a story where in the 80s they did this weird thing where they took R-rated material and they made it to kids programming. Oh. There was a RoboCop cartoon series, RoboCop toys. There were Rambo First Blood Part 2 toys and cartoon series.
And there was a
Toxic Avenger.
It's called the Toxic Crusaders. What they made it for kids.
One was like a dog. Yep. I mean, I had the toys.
Oh yeah, the toys were amazing, and a lot of them were based on Ninja Turtle stuff. If you look up the Toxic Surfer, it's just like a wind board that he rides on.
Yeah.
It's the exact same model as the Ninja Turtles.
And there's a figure where you push ooze into the body and it came out of his head or face or something.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
But then my mom, I was at a department store and they had the Toxic Avenger movie, and she bought it for me, not knowing it was NC-17.
And that's why they had a different name, because they didn't want kids to look up Toxic Avenger and then.
How is that possible now? That
would never happen nowadays.
Now.
No, that does
it's
not.
Insane.
I mean, they do release toys, look at like the Super 7's reaction figure line.
Yeah.
Those are all
but that's like adult toys,
Star Wars stuff. Yeah, it's adult toys, but they still sell them in Toys R Us.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, the Terminator 2 ones, Freddy Krueger, all that stuff, they're all in Toys R Us.
Yeah.
So.
But
they're definitely more reserved in like adult sections of Toys R Us.
Let's travel down the trauma path a little bit here.
Sure,
they hit quite a few. I remember me and my cousin would stay up late on the weekends and watch Cinemax.
Yeah.
Only because we knew that they would show trauma movies like Nukem High.
Class of Nukem High, yep.
Fucking Nukem High.
That is one of their absolute classics, with the giant rat and everything.
Yeah.
That was actually the last episode I shot of Doc Mock's movie Mausoleum. We had Lloyd Kaufman come on with a bunch of Tromets, and we showed
That's amazing.
Class of Nukem High with everyone. And
That's
it
amazing.
was a blast, yeah. And he's the... He's like a robot when it comes to like self-promotion, and he will do anything, be anywhere at any time, and has just as much energy as he ever did.
I love the guy. He made one not that long ago that took place at like a chicken joint.
Yes, we showed that one as well.
What was that called? I can't remember.
Poultry Guys.
Poultry Guys, yes.
Yep.
Holy shit, what a movie that was.
Yep. Absolutely excellent movie.
This is a guy who
really, really funny, and the ending to it just kills me. It's way over the top.
He pushes the envelope.
Yeah, he
does.
But
what.
I love it, just how independent he's remained independent longer than any other independent studio, and they use nothing but practical effects, and they just get everyone on these productions that. You can tell they just put a lot of love into it.
He gave Matt Trey Parker one of their first big shots with Cannibal the Musical.
That's right, Cannibal the Musical. That's true.
What a low budget movie, but you still could see Matt Trey Parker's comedy coming through with it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many movies in the Troma library. It's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, you got like Surf Nazis
Surf
Must Die,
yep.
Tromeo and Juliet. There's all kinds of ridiculous movies.
There is a movie.
Toxic Avenger, though, is my number one. I mean, it always will be, because that was my introduction to them,
man.
and I saw that on like the old USA shows, and I mean, that was the first
brutal,
true
man.
Nerd superhero too. When you think about it.
I mean, the dude's head gets run over in like the opening scene of the movie.
Like they beat up like grandmas and kill some kids, and there's all kind. I mean, it's super over the top, and even for back then, it was like, whoa, holy crap! I've never seen anything.
Again,
like this before.
my cousin would stay up and just like turn Cinemax, like, oh, there's fucking Nukem. There was a movie, I think it was called Class of 1999. Do you remember this movie?
Yes.
Where a robotic teacher, kind of like the Terminator, joins the school.
Oh no!
Goes to war.
He's not a robot teacher, but there is one like that where the teacher goes to the school and he's trying to change the school because there's all these bullies and stuff like that. Class of.
Is that it then? What was it called?
I believe it was Class of 1999.
I could have sworn that maybe the sequel that he's a robot then, because one of them he's a robot.
If there's one where there's like a robot teacher coming in, I mean that's way better than Kindergarten Cop.
I'm telling you, I mean, everyone it sounds like we're talking about The Substitute with Tom Berenger, which was
that's
like a more very, B-level kind of action
Class
movie.
of 1999 Part 2 had the subtitle, The Substitute.
I think that's the one with the robot then.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because it was like they basically, a Terminator started teaching class and started killing kids that weren't doing their shit right. God, my brain is like scanning my old VHSs right now.
No, I think you might be right. I might be thinking of a different one.
Was it the First Class of 1999?
I think the First Class of 1999. I'm looking at the poster for it, and it looks like the Department of Educational Defense, DED.
Yes.
Yep. These humanoids have been programmed to teach and are supplied with weapons to discipline troublemakers.
How amazing is
that?
that?
I'm thinking of a different one.
Yeah.
There's definitely one where like Jim Belushi and
it's the principal.
The Principal, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, but that wasn't really like a cheesy trauma.
No.
That movie I'm talking about?
Well, actually, I take that back. It was very cheesy. Jim Belushi
it was
is
cheesy
the principal,
in like an 80s way.
He's got Iron Eagle helping him out and everything. Oh, it's great.
But the Class of 1999 was like cheesy in a trauma kind of way.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah, some of these movies I'm scanning my brain for. Is there any other, let's just keep going down some of these 80s movies. List me some of your favorite 80s cult films. I'm really curious.
We were talking about some of the horror stuff before.
Let's get into horror.
Most of John Carpenter's catalog is.
But is that really like that to me? Is not cult status. Are you talking like The Fog and like Assault on Precinct 13?
Halloween 3: Season of the Witch is absolutely
that wasn't John
cult.
Carpenter.
Huh?
That wasn't John Carpenter.
He did the music on it.
Oh, okay. I'm talking about like John Carpenter has only done one Halloween film.
They Live is a cult film.
That's
Prince
true.
of Darkness is absolutely a cult
Prince of
film.
Darkness.
So yeah.
Speaking of, let's get into 90s. I'm just only because you brought up Prince of Darkness. Have you ever seen Lord of Illusions?
Yes, I have.
Clive Barker, man. How awesome is that movie?
Great. And Scott Bakula's in it. I mean, come on.
That movie is like about a satanic cult leader.
Yeah, Quantum Leap, cults, magic, everything. I mean,
when was the last time you talked about Lord of Illusions?
It's been a while, I do love that movie.
Right?
Especially I love seeing everyone like get sucked down into the sand
mud
and everything.
Yeah,
that's great. And him taking the screws out of his eyes after they had all this thing. I mean, you guys listening, you got to watch this movie if you haven't seen
Lord
it.
of Illusions is a movie that I remember watching, and I was a big fan of the first Hellraiser film. I still think it's the best in the Hellraiser series. I think the sequel's kind of a mess.
The first one is definitely the best, just pure horror film, but. For me, I actually like Hellraiser 3 the best because
I knew you were gonna say 3.
It gets into like the later Elm Street sequels, like kind of comedy and stuff.
That's where he like blows open the church doors.
Yeah. And
Hellraiser motherfucker.
He creates the greatest Cenobite of all time, CD, which is a DJ with a bunch of CDs in his head, and he spits out CDs to kill people. Classic. And then Warlock 2 is another. I like a lot of sequels, actually.
I'm going to mention a movie to you.
Okay.
And if you've seen it or heard of it, I'm going to be the happiest I've ever been on this podcast in a long time.
Happier than if, Balboa.
Yes. It is an 80s movie that me and my cousin grew up on VHS loving.
Okay.
It was they're trying to cash in on the whole Gremlins kind of vibe.
Okay.
The movie was called Munchies.
Munchies, yeah.
Have you seen Munchies?
I do remember Munchies. I have not seen Munchies, but I do know of that.
So you haven't seen it?
No, that's actually been on my list because
it's not the happiest day for JT.
No, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Munchies is a fantastic 80s film about this guy goes with his father to he goes and finds he's an archaeologist,
right?
And they find this little creature in a tomb, and he's kind of cute. He's kind of nice. He's not quite Gizmo. Looks like a little rat human. And he brings it back home, and then this guy who's like a stepbrother kills one. Now when you kill it, it multiplies, so he cuts it in half.
What does that sound like?
Yeah, a little bit like Gremlins, right? It's definitely Gremlins goes off, but these little guys are like Gremlins to a more rated R degree. They start hijacking cars, stealing shotguns. They're just these little
kind
bastards.
Of like the Critters films, which is another series I absolutely love.
We're about to get into Critters after this, because I love Munchies, and it's not available anywhere except for very rarely on DVD.
It's the whole film, I believe, is on YouTube just for free. Someone uploaded it.
Holy shit! I need to watch it. Is the quality decent?
I could be wrong, but Shout Factory's horror division, Scream Factory, I believe they might be releasing it. I'd have to double check on it. But I've definitely because I know I heard about it recently again. And I was like,
God.
Munchies. That's one of the ones I've been meaning to see.
Please God, release Munchies on Blu-ray. Yeah. I'll ask for nothing else in this life.
There you go.
It's one of those movies I absolutely loved, and I think it still holds up. I go back and watch clips online once in a while. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite clips is this guy comes home and he finds his stepson dead.
Yeah.
But then he sees that his goldfish are dead. And he's more upset
about the goldfish.
Yeah. He's like, they killed the goldfish. Mm-hmm. He's like, nobody messes my goldfish, it lives.
There you go.
That line, nobody kills my goldfish and lives.
You should have a tattoo of that.
I should. I'm going to tweet out that. I think I might have to tweet out that clip because I found it online. Mm-hmm. I remember showing it to a friend's at party. And everyone lost their mind. Without any context, they lost their mind.
Oh, yeah.
How funny
that's
was.
Like Troll 2, you know.
Oh, God, yeah.
Kind of
that's
quote,
a whole nother level.
Oh, my God.
You're the first person, I will say this. You're one of the first people I've talked to that actually heard of Munchies.
Oh, yeah.
Because no one I know else has even heard of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of movies I've heard of that, I didn't get to see. But there's also a lot of movies that other people haven't seen that were just straight to VHS that I love from back then. Like The Video Dead.
The Video Dead.
The Video Dead. The cover art for this, it drew in people at the VHS stores when you went to rent them and all. But it's a zombie coming out of a TV, reaching up, and it looks like the cover of an Iron Maiden album. It's just
awesome.
Great artwork, and that's really what sold most movies back
in the day.
In the day when you were going to rent stuff, because you didn't
cool.
have the internet to look up trailers or anything like that.
Exactly.
You know. That or Piranha, which is like the
original.
It came after Jaws and all that back in the day. Everyone was trying to get the next one, like with Orca or Piranha or whatever. Orca's good, but Piranha is the best of the Jaws exploitation style movies.
Would I agree with that? Yeah, I think Piranha was
really
ones.
well done. Roger Corman.
Corman.
Great
James
stuff.
Cameron did the sequel.
He did the sequel. That one's not good, but it's good for a laugh.
I even like the remake. The Piranha remake was pretty.
The first one was very good.
I didn't see a second
They did
one.
great with that. Yeah.
Let's get in a little bit into Critters.
Okay.
But before we get into Critters, you just mentioned a movie. What was the last one you just mentioned before? The one you just talked about? Shit. So what happens to me, Roger? I get
Piranha,
a thought and I lose it. My
Orca.
Yeah, so it was Orca, something like that. Oh, damn. It was we talked Lord of Illusions.
Lord of Illusions.
It'll come back to me.
Jack Frost, the Mutant Killer Snowman. Did I get to talk about that?
Gingerbread Man?
Probably not. I don't like Gingerbread Man.
No?
Ginger Dead Man.
Ginger Dead Man.
Yeah.
Let's go Critters, because Critters is another film that me and my cousin's a huge horror. He's a huge horror fan.
Cool.
And I branched off to everything. He kind of just stayed with horror. Mm-hmm. But we love the Critters franchise.
Yeah.
First one's fantastic. I love the first one.
Of course.
And I even love the second one.
The second one is my favorite of
the
series.
The second one went a little more comedy.
Yeah. Again, a lot of sequels in horror franchises actually work better than the original films for me. Like the original films are great to like establish, the characters, the monsters, and all that. But a lot of times, like in B movies, it seems like the sequels are the ones that are like, all right, we've already established everything. Now let's just go insane. So in Critters 2, for example, they have a ton of critters band together and create this giant ball, and they roll over this poor farmer.
And all that's left is bones.
Yeah, it's like quivering bones on the ground. Classic
give
scene.
me a break.
Yeah. Right. And of course the bounty hunters and all that. Like one of them models himself after like
a rock star, because he's watching MTV.
Well, yeah, but in the sequel there's also one who finds a Playboy centerfold. So he models himself after that, and he has to rip the staple out of his chest because he actually copied the magazine down to the staples.
And he can't stop looking at things and transforming.
Right.
And at one point he's looking at a Freddy Krueger standee. Yeah. And he starts changing to Freddy Krueger, and the guy's like, no, don't change to him. But the first Critters is really good. I think it's a really good horror film / 80s kind of sci-fi film. Yeah. And like you said, one of my favorite scenes in the first Critters scenes when the bounty hunters who are chasing these critters are approaching Earth. They're like, we have to make our form to match in, and he literally tunes into like MTV, and then they have, and this is not like a famous rocker, but they just have some guy doing like a music video.
Yeah,
I can't remember the song, but the song was amazing.
Oh, that's another. I mean, of course, all the music is great.
And there's a great thing where
it's always cheesy hair metal or something.
And there's a great scene where it's almost like Indiana Jones where the Nazi melts. Like this guy's face starts melting and it forms into this rock star. So imagine, there's a bounty hunter walking around that looks like David Bowie, and he's just blowing dudes away with like a super alien killing cannon that extracts
Classic.
So many good scenes in that movie. No one really famous.
Speaking of space stuff, Night of the Creeps. That was another classic.
Which just got re-released on Blu-ray not too long ago. I've never seen that one.
Whoa.
But I've heard a lot of good things.
Oh my God, you need to see that.
Is that what I need?
It's beautiful. First off, they have like a 1950s black and white throwback at the start of the movie, which is fantastic. And then they go into modern 80s times and all. Just a great movie. It's just so much fun. It's about these this alien basically sends these slugs, and there's actually another horror movie called Slugs about killer garden slugs.
Do you think I don't know about slugs?
Okay, just making sure, because the scene where the person like puts their finger near and you see it actually try to chomp it is just amazing. But
you'll never see a more horrific scene where a lady is making a salad.
Yes.
And slowly a slug crawls into the knife path.
Yep.
And somehow that killed her?
No, it doesn't kill her. What she does is she's chopping it, and whoever she feeds it to, as I recall, he gets really sick and starts barfing.
Oh God, I remember slugs.
But Night of the Creeps, way better movie.
Way better movie, probably.
I mean, Tom Atkins is in it, and he plays one of the greatest detectives and has some amazing lines. It's just
remind me. Slugs does end with a giant slug in the sewers. Am I correct?
No, it's a ton of slugs.
A ton of slugs. Okay.
It's a ton of slugs.
Try to remember if it was a giant slug. I might be thinking Chud.
Chud is another classic
Chud,
that I
Daniel
love.
Stern.
Daniel Stern's one of his first, and there's also a weird character in there who I describe as the quarter-eating bandit.
Yeah.
He's trying to make a phone call at one point, and the quarter-eating bandit walks up to him, takes the quarter, and eats it to intimidate him. Weirdest thing I've ever seen. Well, not weird, but it's up there. And
did not like Chud 2.
No, Chud 2 is Chud 2
it's a
Bud
comedy.
the Chud. It's a comedy. That is definitely not a better sequel, but I've written about it, and there's a lot of endearing things about that. Just make it really funny if you separate it from the Chud franchise. It should not have been called Chud. They were just using the name, but it really does not have much to do with the cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers.
You guys, I tell you what, people listening to the show are getting a lesson.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because we're knocking out movies that you probably never even heard of.
No, that's what I love to do. Is that was one of the big reasons I started my site, was I wanted to introduce, because a lot of people talk about whatever the big movies are, and that's fine. There's certainly more of an audience for that, but there's a lot of people who want to hear about the B movies and these stuff that they would never have known about. So I like giving those things the spotlight.
I totally agree. I lived it, and I will say Critters 1 and 2 are fantastic. 3 is where Leonardo DiCaprio enters the picture.
Yeah, that
and
was
it kind of goes downhill.
It definitely went downhill
and
after part 2.
Where does every great horror franchise go?
Right.
Into space.
Into space, of course.
Critters in space.
Yeah, I'm not. There's not too many in space movies that I'm a huge fan of. They're funny enough. Like Jason X or Leprechaun in Space and all that kind of stuff.
I will say, I don't think we did justice describing the critters. If you guys haven't looked it up already, these are little monster.
They're like killer porcupine aliens.
Yeah, they look like porcupines. Yeah. They're aliens, and they could talk. One thing I love about them is they talk to each other, and sometimes they'll give you subtitles.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is because they understand each other.
Yeah.
And to think those things can even fly a ship is kind of insane.
Yeah, they're basically like gremlins, but just more ferocious, and they don't multiply if you pour water on them. But
also, in the very beginning of Critters 2, when they're in space, the bounty hunters, there is a alien head, just like from the movie Aliens.
Yep.
How awesome is that? So I just wanted to see if you knew that.
Oh, absolutely. those little nods to everything. I love when directors hide stuff like that.
Oh man, I love Critters.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some more. I'm just racking my brain to my childhood. If there's anything I'm leaving out here that I never thought
there are so many movies. I mean, it's not even just horror. I mean, there's movies like Jim Cotta, which
that's Trauma also, isn't it? Is that Trauma?
No, that wasn't Trauma. It was former Olympian Kurt Thomas's one foray into acting to see if he could become an action star. And he thought he could use gymnastics and turn it into like this big action series.
That's when Van Damme and Seagal were doing it, and everyone was trying to also.
Yeah.
And did you ever see Perfect Weapon with Jeff Speakman?
I want to say maybe, but I know the name, but I'm not sure I'm connecting it with
very
the
old
right
school
movie.
Early 90s martial arts film with Jeff Speakman, who's like a straight up professional martial artist.
Right.
It's actually good.
Yeah.
It's not even like that bad. It's definitely kind of like that same level of like early Van Damme, Seagal, but it's awesome. Speaking of these movies we're talking about, Canon Films did some stuff like this.
Yeah.
There's a great documentary on Netflix right now called God, Electric Boogaloo, Cannon I don't even know what it's called.
Yeah, I saw that. That's actually in my queue right now.
It's so good. I watched it like 2 weeks ago, and you'll see not a lot of the movies we're going to talk about, movies in this vein in that documentary. And one movie they did was called Cyborg with Van Damme.
Van Damme.
You seen this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I love this movie because the villain is so over the top.
Yeah, he is.
The final fight, he's just yelling constantly, not anything.
And this was before Van Damme was like
Van Damme.
Van Damme.
Yeah, this is when I think this was like his first movie where he was like the star. And apparently they were hoping to make Masters Universe 2, and they used the sets that they didn't use for Masters Universe 2, and they used it on the set of Cyborg. Interesting little fact.
Good.
Man, this has been, I never thought I'd ever get to Munchies on an episode before. So I'm
so talk about some of the more obscure things. Give people something to research and look up after they're done listening. There's a lot of these movies are on Netflix. A lot of them are on YouTube because they haven't even been released.
Exactly.
And a lot of them are just on DVD, VHS, and
one of the
Blu-ray.
movies that was that I just tweeted to you like a week ago that just came out on Blu-ray a week ago was My Science Project, film with Dennis Hopper about these kids who find this part of an alien artifact, and it's a technology, and he steals it from a junkyard and says, "Oh, this is my school science project," but he accidentally activates it, and the whole school opens time portals. So
naturally,
during the movie, they're in their school, and like they go in the hallway, and there's like a Vietnam War happening. They grab some guns, they turn another corner, and there's like it's almost like Night in the Museum. But then at one point they're fighting a T-Rex. At one point they're fighting like futuristic cyborgs from the future. And it's such a great little 80s sci-fi movie that was never available except for YouTube until a week ago.
That's what I love about a lot of the 80s stuff too, is and 90s. They had so many movies where it was like the kids were kind of like saving the day. Like, you know, it's
always a teenager.
yeah. I mean, Goonies, of course, and all, but
of course.
yeah.
All right, so I think that's gonna do it.
Monster Squad is the horror version of the Goonies. That's another one.
Very fun movie. Yeah. It's one I haven't watched in a while, but I believe was on Netflix recently.
Yeah, that one holds up. It actually does. If you grew up with it, I think it holds up just as well as it did back then. Fun movie. It definitely has the best depiction of the creature from the Black Lagoon that I've ever seen. Like the suit that they made for him in that, incredible. And of course, Wolfman's got nards.
And Shane Black wrote the movie.
There you go.
Great Shane Black. All right, so I'm going to watch Turbo Kid.
Okay.
I've been meaning to watch it. It's been on Netflix now, so there's no excuse for me not to.
I'm going to watch Class of 1999 now because I'm totally confusing it with the principal, obviously.
Yeah, and they made a sequel, but it wasn't as good. And I believe the sequel had the guy from Step by Step.
I think I was thinking of Class of 1989, which was another one where, it's like the principal is fighting this horrible gang that, has been terrorizing
Maybe
the school.
99 is a sequel to the 89.
Well, 1999 had 3 sequels or 2 sequels,
Yeah, it had a couple.
No, Class of 1984. That's what it was.
Oh, okay.
Class of 1984.
Yeah, I've never heard of that one.
Yep. Yeah.
So I'm going to watch Turbo Kid. Guys, if you're out there and you like these kind of movies we've been talking about, or you want to see something that pays homage to those kind of movies, check out Turbo Kid. We're going to end the show with quick thinks. So basically, Roger, I just tweeted out, all the fans said, hey, I'm about to record.
Okay.
Tweet me the last movie you watched, and we'll just kind of get our quick thinks on it.
Sure.
Let's go. Let's start with
what you got?
Ryan Bogardus at Ryan the Swifty. The last movie I watched is a Karate Kid ripoff called Showdown. I think he might have stumped both of us here. Have you heard of Showdown?
Showdown in Little Tokyo.
It's just called Showdown.
Okay.
I've never heard of this movie, Ryan. You?
No. I mean, maybe I've seen it in martial arts sections or something, but I don't recall watching anything. Showdown in Little Tokyo is Dolph Lundgren and Brandon Lee. And, they talk about Dolph's dick size in the movie. I mean, how can you go wrong with that?
And I believe Tia Carrere has a nude scene in that movie. Am I correct? Or she's in it?
She's in it.
Maybe it was a body double.
I'm not sure.
I track movies by...
It's been a while. I think about is Dolph Lundgren's dick, so that's where my mind is.
I went to Tia Carrere and being naked. Yeah. I think we're on different ends of the spectrum.
I think so.
When I think of Karate Kid knockoffs, I think of the Chuck Norris movie Sidekicks.
Oh, sure.
Do you remember that movie?
Yeah. It's got Joe...
the SNL guy.
Yeah.
What's his name? Joe Papagliano, something like that? Joe...
He did a Halloween special that I wrote about. I'm totally forgetting his name right now.
All right, now I gotta look
I feel
him up.
so bad.
Just to give him... Because, what else has he done besides Sidekicks?
But no, Sidekicks with Chuck Norris was great. I love the the ninja scene at the end of the movie when they have another actor clearly
playing Jonathan Brandis.
Yeah, and he's in this like white Storm Shadow G.I. Joe style ninja suit. Joe Piscopo. Thank you. He did a great Halloween special back in the day that I actually wrote a big article on.
Really?
That's kind of funny. Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
But yeah, that's the only Karate Kid thing I can think of.
Karate Kid 4 to me is a ripoff of the Karate Kid.
Well, good point.
But of course, the one with Jaden Smith. That I don't even consider that.
No, it's the Kung Fu Kid. That movie made no sense.
What's your favorite Karate Kid film? The original?
First,
hands
down.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Yep. Agreed.
I mean, the third one has some fun moments.
I like the second one a lot, actually.
I like
the second one a lot.
A lot of people dig on the third one, though, but like, I love the villain. The fact he teams up with his other villain, who just has
I just
hair.
love that they brought back John Kreese. That's what I liked about it.
Yes, exactly. John Kreese. He goes to like his old Vietnam buddy, who's just
his friend in it looks like a Steven Seagal wannabe in it. Really,
yeah,
with the
he
way
has a
his hair's slicked
ponytail.
back and all. Yeah,
I'm convinced it's like the same guy from Mighty Ducks 2 who is coaching the other team.
Yeah. And I mean, Seagal himself has plenty of great cheesy movies that we can get into another time. But
let's go. Somebody else here. Let's go to Ben Lott at Lott Ben. Executive Decision. Speaking of Seagal.
Oh, there you go.
There
right.
you go.
He's not in it very long, unfortunately. But
spoiler, dude.
Would have been a lot better if he had stayed in it.
I like Executive Decision. I actually remember seeing that in theaters. Yeah. And that was Kurt Russell, man.
If Kurt Russell's in a movie, I will see it.
You will see it.
Oh yeah. And I was talking about this the other day with someone. There's a movie that he was in. It was a thriller called Breakdown.
Are you kidding me?
You've seen it? Okay.
Jonathan Mostow.
Fantastic movie.
Fantastic.
Not a lot of people have seen it, and it's like such a good thriller.
I still own the DVD.
There you go.
You know why? Because I'm sure they're never going to bring out Blu-ray.
Probably not.
And I will cherish that DVD because it is such a great thriller that not a lot of people know about.
No, and it's like, I was talking about, because I was talking, in fact, it was Miss Movies, Brienne.
Yes, of course.
I was talking with her about, Big Trouble in Little China and over-the-top trucker movies, and of course it came up Breakdown.
Breakdown is a fantastic movie,
awesome
guys.
Movie.
Jonathan Mostow is also the guy who did U-571. I unfortunately did Terminator 3. But Breakdown is a fantastic kind of like edgier seat thriller.
Oh, yeah.
And one of my favorite endings to a movie. I'm not going to...
No,
this
don't
is a
spoil
spoiler,
it.
But when he goes in the kitchen is all I'm going to say.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Tyler John, at Tyler John, The Abyss.
The Abyss.
Ooh,
yeah, I like
James
that
Cameron.
one. That's a good one.
Big fan of the director's cut. Have you seen it?
I don't think I've seen the director's
cut. Is way better.
Is it?
I feel like James Cameron's director's cut always was just better.
I just remember being so fascinated with being able to breathe in this pink
goo?
liquid.
Yeah, the goo.
It's like they took the slime from Ghostbusters 2 and made it breathable, and that to me just seemed incredible. But I was so scared when they put the rat in it. Remember, do you remember like his pet rat to test it to show him? I was like, don't do that to the poor thing.
They put him in a cage, and then he's like floating. He's like,
yeah, that pissed me off at the time. I remember.
How did they do that? I don't know. I hope they didn't really kill that rat.
I think that stuff might have been real.
Yeah, you're probably right. But I loved The Abyss. I'm really hoping it's one of those movies I've been clamoring for. Blu-ray.
No, it holds up. I mean, Ed Harris, Mary Elizabeth Masterson.
Yes, I believe so. She plays
both of them
ex-wife.
are incredible in it.
Michael Biehn.
Great performances. Michael Biehn
is a psycho Nazi, Navy SEAL.
Yeah, and those tremors he starts getting. I mean, you can just see him losing it as time goes by.
There's a great scene where Ed Harris has to swim underneath the bay, and Michael Biehn is slowly. There's a chain link.
Right. And he's just pulling it slowly. Click, click. And you're like, he knows he's there.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
Yep.
Please, James Cameron, I want two things from you. True Lies on Blu-ray and The Abyss on Blu-ray. Is that too much to ask?
I thought you were going to ask for an Abyss sequel. I'm like, no, that movie stands on its own.
No.
I just want aliens.
I just want the movies on Blu-ray, damn it.
Yeah.
Especially The Abyss, because the DVDs...
There's a lot of good underwater horror movies, too. There's plenty of good stuff back in the day, too.
Leviathan or something like that?
Leviathan, yeah.
Leviathan, yeah.
That's good
stuff.
Then
there's another one. Remember the one with Jamie Lee Curtis in the 90s? It's called, like, Virus. Yes, it was called Virus.
That was aboard a ship.
It was aboard a ship.
Yeah, but no.
Oh, let me...
We are Virus. I remember that
Let me tell you one of my favorites from the 90s.
Okay.
That you could buy on Blu-ray for like $3.
Okay.
And you can only buy it with a double pack with another crappy movie.
I'm all for it.
But this movie's awesome. And I bet you've seen it.
Okay.
Deep Rising.
Yes. That's the one...
Steven Summers.
And it had the deep sea divers... that's the one with the deep sea diver on it got like cut in half, or am I thinking of Leviathan?
You might be thinking of Leviathan. That's Leviathan.
Okay, because I remember one had the poster. It's like the deep sea divers suit where it's like chopped in half.
That's Leviathan.
Is that really Leviathan? Wow.
Or it's something else like it.
Oh,
but I'm talking about Stephen Sommers, a giant octopus, like attacks a Titanic type boat, and this group of mercenaries go on the boat to steal something, and everyone on the boat is dead. Have you never seen Deep Rising?
Maybe I have not
You will
seen
lose
Deep
your
Rising.
mind.
Right.
I guarantee you this is right up your alley.
I'm not thinking of Deep Blue Sea, because that's another shark exploitation
Look
one.
up Deep Rising.
Okay.
Stephen Sommers, this is what he directed for The Mummy, which was his breakout hit with Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
You will absolutely love Deep Rising.
Okay.
There's not a doubt in my mind.
No, I'm sure I will.
You
if it
will
came from that era and
absolutely
that kind of
love
a
it.
plot, I'll be all over that.
It's literally like there's one point.
Deep Star 6. That's what the
That's
movie
it,
was
yes,
called.
Deep Star 6.
Where it has the diving suit with the
Okay.
guy cut in half. That's what I'm thinking.
I could see the
It's
poster in my
another
head.
great underwater horror flick.
I can't wait for you to watch Deep Rising. That's all I can think about now.
I'll watch that if you watch Jack Frost, the Mutant Killer Snowman.
I feel like you're getting a better shake on
No,
that stick.
no, that is my all-time favorite Christmas horror movie. It's a horror comedy.
But that's okay.
It's great. It's so
mine's
funny.
kind of a horror comedy too.
Yeah. The first one, though, not the second Jack
This is what we're
Frost.
gonna do when we're done recording. You're gonna watch a trailer for Deep Rising.
Okay.
And I will watch a trailer for what the hell
Jack
you just
Frost,
said.
the
Yeah.
Mutant Killer Snowman? All right.
And we will see what we think.
Okay.
All right.
We should do that on the air, honestly. But okay.
But there's no way for them to see it. Do you want to just like?
Just to hear the reactions.
All right. You want to do that?
I think I would ask them right now if they want to hear our reactions.
we're not
but I'm
live.
sure they're screaming yes.
All right.
At
So
their
let's
computers.
go ahead and do that. You want to go first or me? I'll go first.
You go first. Load it up, and I'm looking up Deep Rising.
Deep Rising.
Okay.
And your movie is called Jack
Frost, the Mutant Killer Snowman, came out the same year as the Michael Keaton Jack Frost.
Yes, of course.
And I was working in a video store at the time, and as a joke, all of us would like swap the DVDs with the family version.
We got Jack Frost, the Killer Snowman.
Sure.
But we want the Killer Mutant Snowman, right?
There's only one Jack Frost Killer Snowman movie, so they probably just mislabeled it on YouTube.
Jack Frost 2 trailer.
Not 2, not part
Nope.
2.
Jack Frost 2, Revenge of the Mutant Killer.
Nope.
Jack Frost 2. All I got is 2. I don't see the first one on here. Jack Frost horror movie review. Oh, come on. It's got to be on here somewhere. I'm not going to cut this out. Keeping it real. I don't see a trailer for the first one, man. All I see is Jack Frost 2, The Revenge of the Killer Mutant Snowman. Jack Frost
no good.
2, Revenge of the Snowman. Jack Frost 1996.
All right, I'm gonna while you're looking that up, I'm gonna watch this Deep Rising trailer.
All right, give your...
Mill Creek Entertainment. It's
What's the
like
runtime on it?
2-minute trailer.
Yep. All right, guys, look it up on your iPhone.
Deep Rising trailer from Mill Creek Entertainment.
That sounds about right. All right, I don't know if this is it. Jack Frost 2.
Welcome to the greatest pleasure ship ever built. Good times forever.
Got Nick Nolte.
Nolte was in there?
That looked like him.
I don't think that was him.
Coming from, I don't know, sir, but whatever it is, it's big. They answered a distress call. Where the hell is everybody?
It's like Titanic
Yeah.
meets action and horror.
Yep.
In the water.
Oh, wait a minute. I think. Oh, Treat Williams is in this. I have
Yes.
seen this.
Yes.
I have seen this movie.
Okay, so you have seen it.
Oh yeah. Wow, it's been a while since I've seen that.
It actually holds up.
Treat Williams, I mean,
It's great.
he's in so many corny movies from
Yeah.
back then.
I'm telling you, this movie actually really holds up, though.
This is starting to freak me out, man.
It's gory, too. There's some gory shit in there.
Oh yeah, it was.
And they have these awesome guns with, like, machine gun turrets.
Yeah. The classic aliens.
Yeah.
And that's the dude from Lord of Illusions.
Oh,
he's
is it
also
really?
in it. The main magician guy.
No
Yeah.
way.
Yep.
We came full circle.
I don't know his name, but you got some good CGI tentacles there.
Yep.
Treat Williams riding out of an exploding cruise liner
With a jet ski.
on a jet ski. Deep
Yes.
Rising. Women and children first. What a perfect tagline.
Guys, it's a fantastic movie.
It also has another toilet death scene in it, so that's another reason to watch it. But yeah, man, I totally forgot about that movie.
See,
I've seen most stuff. I just forget the names sometimes.
Unfortunately, I can't find a trailer for it. I've only seen Jack Frost 2, Revenge of the Mutant Killer Snowman, but I cannot find... I've seen clips for it, but I can't find a trailer. Is this movie that hard to find?
It should not be that hard to find.
Tell me if you find it.
All right, look. Just do a search for Jack Frost horror trailer. It's the first one that comes up.
Okay, Jack Frost.
It'll say Jack Frost 1997 trailer as the first result.
Horror trailer. There
Yep.
we go. Okay, I got it. 1997.
Yep.
One cold night, science and evil collide.
Okay, so it's the Chucky theory where a psychopath merges with something. I love that already.
Yep.
This actually looks pretty decent.
It's great.
I expected it to be really low budget, but this looks decent.
It is low budget, but they did so well with it.
So well?
Yeah.
A serial killer is
Oh, okay. Now he doesn't look as good. He looked good.
on a human cell. This is a disaster.
What? Is there nudity? It's got to be, right?
Out there killing my friends.
Not really.
Okay.
Jack Frost.
What? She's in the bathtub. What?
That's Shannon Elizabeth's first role, actually.
Really?
Yep.
This is insane. Oh, he came in like a critter ball. He came in as a giant snowball. Oh wow, there's not even puppetry on that face, is there? This is.
Nope.
It looks like they put him on like a.
This movie is filled with cheesy one-liners.
Oh my God, he's in the shower with her.
Yep.
He's humping her.
Yep.
Does he have sex with a human?
You got to watch.
Oh my God.
The movie is filled with cheesy one-liners, crazy
I could
kills.
tell.
It's so over the top and ridiculous. But
Holy Jesus.
yeah.
Jack Frost. Look, Ma! I'm a Picasso!
Wow. So honestly, it looks very Child's Play-esque.
Oh, it's
As
totally
far as-
it's cheesy, just like any of those
Yeah.
movies are. Absolutely.
Movies like this don't get made anymore.
Not. Well, they do.
Do they?
They're just not as. Oh, I mean.
As good?
Sure. They're. Well, some of them are good. I mean, Turbo Kid, I loved. That's a totally
but
cheesy movie, but
I
it's
guess-
definitely got more heart to it than something
Yeah.
like Jack Frost does.
And does Gingerbread kind of fall in this line? But you said you
Ginger
don't
Dead,
like it.
no. I mean, Ginger Dead wishes it could be that
It's
good.
voiced by Gary Busey, though. That's a plus.
Full Moon Pictures have really when they did Puppet Master back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
they were like I consider like Full Moon like a step below Troma.
Gotcha.
Like Troma, like they have a good enough budget and good enough skills, and they put enough love into their projects.
Gotcha.
That even with a bad script, it can be a really fun movie to watch. Full Moon movies can be painful, and it's their most recent ones that I've seen. They just are.
There's another company like that.
I love the Puppet Master series and the characters
Yeah.
they made for them, and they have a few other things, but for the most part, yeah, it's kind of
There's-
tough to watch a lot of their.
This is
their
another
stuff.
company that starts with an A that just makes like really bad, shitty movies that look like movies that are coming out, like Transmorphers.
Oh sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything comes out that's big, like like
They
when the
make a
Matrix
shitty version of it.
came out, I'm sure they were doing something just
Yeah.
like that. There's a lot of companies that just
All right, well-
exist at video stores to.
Fool
get in
grandma.
on that. When Snakes on a Plane came out, there were like a million
Anacondas on a ship.
exactly,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff.
All right,
So,
Roger. Well, this was a lot of fun, man. This was a good trip down memory lane.
dude.
I got to think about some movies I haven't thought about in a long time.
That's
and,
what I love, man.
I guarantee this will be the only episode where Slugs, Munchies,
Night
or
of the
Class of
Creeps.
1999
Yeah.
even come close to
NC
coming up.
Class of 1989 or
Yeah,
84
84.
because that's a great teacher.
I'll have to
principal
check that
movie.
out, man.
Oh yeah.
So do me a favor, tell where the people can find you.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at i-Mockery. That's I-M-O-C-K-E-R-Y. And my website is i-mockery.com. And that's where I write about all these cheesy movies, both new and old. I write about comics, toys, Halloween, horror movies. I make video games, all kinds of fun stuff. So just
Yeah.
anything pop culture related.
I'll be definitely-
And I'm here on Screen Junkies a bunch
Yeah.
as well. Just random shows. I'll be battling Nick again soon enough on Movie Fights, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
it's gonna be fun.
And Andre's Mega Movie Get Together,
Yep.
TV Fights, all all kinds of random stuff.
All over the place, man. Roger Barr, I can't wait to check out your website some more, and especially around Halloween, I'll make sure to definitely hit it up.
Yeah, we'll be drinking Ecto Cooler by then, which I'm so... That's
right.
If nothing else comes out of the new Ghostbusters movie, the new Ghostbusters flick, we get Ecto Cooler. So even if it's a bad movie, which I'm not saying it's going to be bad yet. I'm waiting until the movie's out. I'm not judging anything by a trailer. Ecto Cooler we're getting again.
We're getting Ecto Cooler.
Yeah. And we're getting green slime Twinkies as well. So
that I could do without.
Yeah, probably. Key lime. I'm not sure key lime Twinkies work, but visually they work.
Visually they do work. Great, man. I can't wait. You know, I always love when you come down to the show.
Thanks for having me on, man. I'm glad to do this.
You always bring your knowledge, you know, and I think when it comes to being entertaining, you also have to have knowledge.
I think it's both. More you gotta have love for what you're talking about.
Totally.
I think that's really the thing.
That's why you have the knowledge, because you love it. All right, guys, you can catch me at Schmoes JTE. Do me a favor, listen to iTunes. Go ahead, give me a 5-star rating if you feel like we gave you a 5-star podcast.
Give him as many stars as you would give Jack Frost the Mutant Killer Snowman. So 5 stars.
Yeah, and Deep Rising.
Deep Rising. There you go. And, that is a good movie.
It is really good. I need to watch it again.
Yeah.
Also, guys, you can catch me every Sunday on Box Office Breakdown, where me, Tom Danino, Sarah Stratton are breaking down the box office numbers. It's a very fun show. I promise you, it's not just us reading numbers. JT Movie Thinks comes out every Tuesday. Every Thursday, JT Movie News. And also, I am on movie fights once in a while. I'm all around Screen Junkies. I'm in the booth for every show.
You got some knowledge.
I pop in.
Yeah. And movie games.
Movie games, yeah. I've been hitting movie games lately. Also, check me out on Schmoes Know Phase 6, which is starting, if you're listening to this, started last week. We're back. We're gonna kill it. Phase 6 is gonna be huge. I can't wait. It's so much fun to be around all my friends and just talk movies again. Because really, that's what I love doing.
That's right.
All right, guys. So do me a favor. Keep watching those movies.
Thanks again. And may the wings of liberty never lose a feather.
Hey, what's up? I'm not asking. I'm telling you. See, I'm rolling up my sleeves. There's this link right there. You're going to watch the behind-the-scenes videos. When you're done with that, you're going to laugh your ass off some of these B-Team videos. Don't forget the other podcast stuff, because that's stuff we do personally. All right? Watch that shit.